What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down what each exotic class item perk actually does and how it compares to the original exotic piece that inspired it. We have 16 different class item perks to get to, so for the sake of brevity I won't be showing all the testing that I conducted. For example, I tested the damage of supers with and without biotic enhancements to see if Spirit of Synthoceps actually buffs our super damage, despite the perk just saying it increases melee damage. I did this because, as we know, Bungie's spaghetti code often works in weird ways. Instead, I will just be saying what the Spirit perk does and how it differs from the original exotic, because the point of this video is to help you determine exactly what these Spirit perks do so that you can more easily build craft with them. I was curious myself on some of these differences, so I figured I would make this video to help out the community because I figured they may be interested as well. This video obviously took a ton of time and effort, from farming the exotic class items in the first place to doing the testing and then editing it all into video form. Countless hours have been spent on this project, so if you'd be so kind as to like and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. Timestamps are below if you're just looking for a certain perk and want to know how it works. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the video. We will go in alphabetical order, meaning Abeyant Leap is up first. The regular version of the exotic states improves Dranger's Lash. Projectiles track targets more aggressively and travel farther. Gain Woven Mail when you suspend a target. And then the Spirit version does the same thing, minus giving Woven Mail to you when you suspend a target. So not a bad trade-off really. One nice thing is this does work with Thruster as well. As for the more aggressive tracking, it's hard to tell with Thruster, but the tracking is pretty strong when you have Spirit of Abeyant. I also tested this without the Dranger's Lash aspect equipped just to see if it will still work, but it does not. Overall, this is a pretty good Spirit perk because not getting Woven Mail is not the end of the world. Next, we have Crest of Alpha Lupi. This stage generates an additional orb of power from supers and a healing pulse when Barricade is activated, where the Spirit version just gives a chunk of health and no additional orbs from your super. First off, this does not work with Thruster, which is very disappointing. And secondly, the chunk of health is minuscule. The Destiny Data Compendium says it's 80 HP. In my opinion, this exotic desperately needs a buff. It's really bad. Next is Armamentarium. This states gain an additional grenade charge. Grenade funnel blows spawn an orb of power, where the Spirit version just gives an additional grenade charge. This exotic perk is pretty nice, as up till recently, Armamentarium only did this anyways until they added giving it firepower intrinsically. But you can just use firepower on your gloves to make an orb with your grenade. And Prismatic Titans have some really strong grenades in their kit, so getting 2 of them is really nice. Next up is Assassin's Cowl. So the main version states powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of health and shields. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health and shields restored. Where the Spirit version does not grant health back, and instead just makes you invis on melee kills and finishers, which is still really good, especially with Consecration. And the higher the tier of the enemy you defeat, the longer your invis lasts. Next, we have Spirit of the Bear. Ursa Furiosa states move faster while guarding with Sentinel Shield or the Unbreakable Shield. Damage blocked with either is converted to super energy. Now we only have Twilight Arsenal in the Titan Prismatic kit, so obviously we can't block with Sentinel Shield. So naturally, the Spirit version just states that we move faster while guarding with Unbreakable, and the damage blocked is converted to super energy. Now, I'm personally not really a fan of this aspect as it consumes our grenade, and as we mentioned, we have strong grenades on Prismatic Titan. But if you're trying to make a build based around getting your super a lot, then this Spirit perk is decent. Next is Point Contact Cannon Brace. Defeating targets with your Thunderclap melee restores melee energy. Targets near you when you use your Thunderclap suffer lightning strikes and become jolted. Being amplified increases the damage of these lightning strikes. And Spirit of Contact states damaging a target with a powered melee causes all nearby targets to suffer lightning strikes and become jolted. But it doesn't say anything about us getting melee energy back, or the increase in damage to the lightning strikes. But I tested this with every melee, and every time I was able to get some melee energy back from the jolt. So that's pretty neat. A little hidden interaction that makes it just a little bit better. Next, we have Eternal Warrior. Arc weapon final blows grant an escalating damage bonus with arc weapons. Gain an overshield when activating Fists of Havoc, and gain the highest tiered damage bonus to arc weapons when your Fists of Havoc super ends. Where the Spirit version just says gain bonus damage for weapons matching your super's element when your super ends. So this is a 30-second damage bonus to a weapon that matches our super type. And this is a ×4 weapon boost, meaning we deal 25% more damage. So not too bad at all, though it's dependent solely on having your super. Next is Heart of Inmost Light. This exotic states using an ability empowers the other two abilities. Empowered means abilities have faster regen, melees and grenades do more damage, and barricades have more hit points. Where the spirit version just reduces our energy cooldown and does not provide a damage bonus to our abilities. It's still a great spirit perk though. And I also tested this while Transcendent and it seems to work, so this is great for spamming abilities. Another crazy interaction I found when I was doing my testing is that if you have the Aspect Knockout equipped, then when Knockout is active, your base melee can actually trigger Heart of Inmost Light to give you empowered abilities. I also tested this with Diamond Lance to see if that would count, but sadly it doesn't. Up next is Hoarfrost Z. While you have a Stasis super equipped, your barricade becomes a wall of stasis crystals that slows nearby targets when created. Standing behind this barricade will grant you and your allies increased weapon reload speed, stability, and range. Where the spirit version just turns our barricade into crystals that can apply slow. We do not get the weapon bonuses. And once again, this only works with barricades and not on thruster. Khepri's Horn states solar funnel blows recharge your barricade, which unleashes a blast of solar energy that scorches targets when summoned. Where the spirit version just unleashes the blast of solar energy that scorches. It does not give barricade energy back when you get solar funnel blows. And sadly, it states your barricade, not class ability. This means that it does not work with thruster. Up next is Ophidian Aspect. They ready and reload weapons very quickly and provide a small benefit to the AE stat of any weapon. But the class item version just says they ready weapons quickly. Obviously, having high handling on your weapons is great, especially in PvP or DPS encounters, but the spirit version does not give enhanced AE or quicker reload speed. Next is Precious Scars. Final blows from weapons with a damage type matching your super create a burst of healing around you that grants allies restoration. After reviving or being revived, you gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby allies. Where the spirit version does not grant that aura that protects you after reviving, which as a mostly solo player, I don't really care that much about anyways. So we get the better part of the perk here. After we get 2 or 3 kills with a weapon matching our super, we get 3 seconds of restoration, which is great for survivability. Next we have Severance and Closure. Powered melee final blows unleash a damaging explosion. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the radius and damage of the explosion. Where the spirit version just has powered melee or finisher final blows unleashing a damaging explosion. It does not get bigger based on the tier of the combatant. So this is a nice trade-off. The explosion is decent and you're mostly using this for red bar ad clear anyways, so it's pretty good for that. Next is Star Eater Scales. The regular version gives you bigger chunks of super energy every time you pick up an orb of power. And then when you pick up orbs of power after your super is charged, you gain stacks of Feast with Light so your super does more damage. And if you cast your super at max stacks of Feast of Light, you get an overshield. But the Spirit of Star Eater only gives the best portion of this exotic, and that is to increase the super damage. At max stacks of Feast of Light, this is a 70% increase to your super, which is obviously substantial. The rest of the damage increases are on screen now, but for the testing, I just tested the base super and the max stacks version of the super. I'll play the side-by-sides for you so that you can see how much harder every super hits for. This is definitely a strong class item perk. Up next is my favorite exotic, Synthoceps. When you're surrounded, gain increased melee and super damage, as well as improved weapon handling and reload speed. And then Spirit of Synthoceps just gives us the increased melee damage when we're surrounded. All the melee damage increases are the same as with Synthoceps, and it even works with glaives, but we do not get the 50% damage increase to our super or the better handling and reload speed. Overall, this is still very strong, especially with Consecration, and you can make some very strong builds around this. And last but not least, we have Spirit of Verity. Weapon final blows with a damage type matching your equipped grenade grant death throws, which provide a grenade damage bonus and grant you grenade energy. When you have death throws and throw a grenade, nearby allies gain greatly increased grenade regeneration for a short time. And then Spirit of Verity states weapon final blows with a damage type matching your grenade grant stacking grenade damage bonus. So basically, this exotic loses the Feel the Flames portion where when you throw your grenade, your allies have greatly increased grenade regeneration, but it maintains death throws. So we get 50% additional base grenade regen rate, and our grenade hits for 20% more per stack, up to 5 stacks for 100% more damage, aka double damage. And this also works with the Transcendence grenade, which is really nice. And what is neat about this is it works as long as you have death throws. So even though the Transcendence grenade is a mix of strand and arc, if we have suppressor grenades equipped and get stacks of death throws with a void weapon, the death throw stacks will still count towards our Transcendence grenade. So that's cool. And that is it for the video. I hope it was helpful, and if it was, then a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. I'm working on the Hunter version for this as well, so be sure to check that out when it drops. Lastly, if you're still here, thanks so much for watching to the end. I appreciate it. Good luck getting your exotic class item god rolls, and take care.